Greetings, Gutman Grizzlies. My name is Reverend Nancy Dominique DeSablis, and I am the Field Placement Coordinator of the Human Services Program. And I'm very happy to be recording this video for those of you who are in Dr. Crass's class, the Intro to Human Services. And I will show you a brief PowerPoint right now to introduce you to your internship experience. So some of you may already know that part of doing a major at Gutman Community College is that you have to do a mandatory internship, which you will take when you are enrolled in HSVC 201, which is the Field Placement and Integrative Seminar course. So right now I'm just going to do a brief informal, no frills video and take you through a few slides to introduce you to your what your internship is all about and what you can expect. So I am going to share my screen and I am going to pull up the PowerPoint and then we'll start. Okay, once again, my name is Reverend Nancy Dominique DeSablis. Welcome to this video, and we will begin shortly. All right, folks, let's jump into this video. First of all, I just want to say welcome again. My name is Reverend Dominique DeSablis, and welcome to this very brief presentation on information. It's an information session, and it's essentially about field work, or what we call field practicum, and what you can expect from your field practicum or fieldwork experience. So what you're actually seeing is part of an orientation that we do in order to be eligible for field placement. There are a series of things you have to do, and I'll explain that to you. And one of them is to actually take on Blackboard a full-scale orientation, which includes a PowerPoint very similar to this, but it's actually more thorough than what we're going to do today. And then there are some other things that you have to do, other little videos that you'd be watching and some other things that you'd be looking at. This is not the full-scale orientation that you would take when you've spoken to your advisor and you know for sure that you're eligible and you know for sure that you'll be enrolling in HSVC 201. This is a mini orientation, just to give you a preview of fieldwork. So let's begin. And we already did that, so I'm going to try to move the slide along here. So again, our purpose today is to gain important information about the Human Services Fieldwork Experience at Gutman Community College. We'll talk a little bit about what to expect from your fieldwork experience. We'll go through some eligibility requirements, and we'll talk a little bit about what is expected of you as a human services intern. So I do want to talk about eligibility for fieldwork. There are two classes that you will be taking that have this field placement requirement embedded within those classes. It's HSVC 201 and HSVC 203. HSVC 203 is really just part 2 of HSVC 201. You'll either take this in the spring and then the second part in the fall, or you might start it in the fall and then take the second part in the spring. In order to be eligible for the internship and or HSVC 201, you have to pass the following courses. You have to pass English 103, Composition 1, You definitely have to pass. There's a little mistake on that. No, actually, I think that's correct. It's HSVC 103. And that's, of course, the intro to human services. That's primarily it at this point. We have made some slight changes in the requirements over the years. If there's any updates to this, we'll let you know. You do have to have a 2.0 GPA. You do need to complete the field placement orientation that I spoke about earlier on Blackboard. There, you do need to have an interview with me, Nancy DeSablis, and I am the person that actually matches you to your internship after we have that discussion. The most important thing that you should be doing now, since we are at a point in the semester where it makes sense for you to do that, is you should be talking to your advisor, please. Definitely make an appointment with your advisor and discuss whether you think you will meet these eligibility requirements for the next semester. When I say the next semester, we don't place, this course is not offered during fall 2 or spring 2. So you're going to talk to your advisor now to see if you would be eligible to take this in the spring. Okay, or if you're watching this in the fall, you'd be, or in the spring, you'd be seeing if you could take it in the fall. So essentially, you want to start having conversations with your advisor to map out if you think that fairly soon you will be in this course and therefore requiring the internship. I want to talk a little bit about what human services is. Most of you, I think, realize that being in this major, but some of you may still be researching this major. So human services is a broad field that seeks to support, strengthen, and empower psychologically, socially, medically, physically, and economically vulnerable populations that need society's protections. These are, populations that in one form or another need advocacy, just need our overall attention in different ways. So human services is a generic umbrella term. Professionals who work in the field of human services can be many, many things. We are educators, counselors. Some of us are probation officers. We can actually hold law degrees, and we might work in like child welfare as legal attorneys. Some of us are social workers, HR specialists, community organizers, union reps, outreach workers, eligibility specialists, public health workers, psychologists, caseworkers, case assistants, senior center directors, client advocates, recreation specialists, job developers, gerontologists, and many, many more. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a degree in human services. At this point, you're getting an associate's degree. So it's going to be important for you to move on with your education. This is the basic foundational degree. And many of you are going to want to go, obviously, to obtain your bachelor's degree in either human services or social work or something related. Doesn't have to be that exact track, but you're going to want to build upon this associate's degree and get a bachelor's degree, and then hopefully a master's degree. And some of you might even go straight up and go get the PhD. The more education you obtain, the more training you obtain, obviously, the more opportunities you will have access to, and the higher the salary and income levels will be for you. So let's talk a little bit about the field placement experience. So again, I use the word practicum, field placement, internship. Those are all interchangeable. Your internship will be an opportunity for you to get hands-on practice with the skills and theories learned in the classroom. Some of you may be working already in the field, so you may already have experience. Hopefully this will add to it or give you even more to build on, or It will provide you with a different kind of experience from the place that you may be working at. Okay, how does field placement work? Well, you're going to work 2 or 3 days a week in a human services agency. Most people work two. Two is really the norm. Depending on your work schedule and many other factors, some people try to do more than two, but we recommend two. You can work 10 to 10 and a half hours a week. That's really the frequency that we recommend and that we really want students to work at. Some students try to do more hours a week. We don't recommend that unless you are, of course, behind in your field placement hours, and then you really do need to work more than 10 and 10 and a half hours a week. But if you're not behind at all, then the appropriate rate is 10 to 10 and a half hours. And that's because of some people pile up their hours and then they try to finish their internship early. And then what happens is that they're going to be in the class and the teacher is going to be giving them assignments and homework to do based on the fact that they're thinking they're still on a field placement. And if they finish early, it's going to cause all kinds of problems for that student. So we recommend the 10 to 10 to 10 and a half hours per week. And that'll give you 125 hours a semester, which is the requirement. And then you'll do 2 semesters of that. So you get 250 hours a year. That is your internship requirement. 125 hours of internship in a semester, 250 in a year. You work for the same agency for the entire year. Okay, you do not change agencies. You do fall one, 125 hours, and spring one, 125 hours. Again, if you'll be starting in the spring, it's the same thing. And again, this is embedded in the fieldwork and integrative course, which you will take, which is approximately 1.5 hours a week. Now, you probably are wondering if the internships are paid. At the time that I'm recording this video, which is in the fall of 2023, the internships are currently not paid, although there are a few unique opportunities where students may be getting some kind of assistance. But for the most part, they're not paid, but we are looking to change that. So Gutman and as many other colleges in the CUNY system are currently working to offer some kind of stipend or something to students so that they can be paid for their internships or to offer them an opportunity that does come with payment. So right now, technically, no, but we're working on it. And payment could come in the form of work study, although that has ended. We used to have a relationship with the Federal Work Study Office here at Gutman Community College, where some of our students could get work study. That program came to an end, but it may be revitalized again at some point. You never know. Again, there may be the opportunity to get stipends, apprenticeships. We're experimenting with that. If you already work in an organization that is a nonprofit that does some kind of human services, it may be possible for us to not replicate your exact same thing that you're doing, but you might be able to use your job site to get an internship at some other department or doing some other work, which might make things a lot easier for you. Right, if you are already on the job. So we'll be able to work some creative things out for you if you are an adult and you're, well, everybody here is an adult. By that, I mean, if you are just a person that has particularly a full-time job in a social service or human service area, and there might be the opportunity for some fellowships and other kinds of things. We'll let you know as those things become possible. But again, not to be redundant, we don't, at the moment, internships are not paid, but again, we're looking to see what creative opportunities we can do for our students. Okay, I want to talk about the internship start and end dates for the spring of 2024, since that is what's coming up. So Monday, March the 4th, 2024, all human services internships can begin. This is when they begin. Okay. And on Friday, June the 7th, 2024, this is when all human services internships end. So you may be wondering, what does that mean? This is basically the next cohort of people that will be doing internships. These are the dates where you'll be starting and stopping your internship. This is, of course, for those of you who qualify and meet the eligibility requirements and can take HSVC 201 beginning in the spring. So this is what you can expect in terms of when you will start and stop your internship. Now, that's just for one semester. Remember, there are no internships over the summer, so you're not expected to do any interning over the summer. But then the internship resumes again in the fall, because remember, you have to do the second round of 125 hours. I don't have those dates now, but those typically will correspond to when the semester starts and when the semester stops. Usually it's around September the 9th or the 10th or the 11th, or possibly the 12th. Something around there is when your internship will begin for the fall, and likely end around December the 16th or so, whatever that week is right there before we get into the holiday week. All right, let's keep it moving. I want to share with you some other key dates that pertain to those of you who think that you might be eligible to begin this internship as early as the spring, with those dates that I just mentioned. So by December 2023, which is only a couple of months from now, the Blackboard Human Services orientation that I spoke to you about will be available. Okay, it's not available now, but it will be in December. And so those of you who are eligible will let me know, and I'll talk about that at the end of this PowerPoint. And then I'll be getting in touch with you to give you the information as to how you can access this online orientation. By January the 9th, 2024, we're going to begin with interviewing, if not sooner than that. But by then, that's the latest, I will start meeting with students to actually begin matching them to their internships. I'll talk about the matching process in a minute. By March the 4th, all internships begin. And again, by June the 7th, all internships will end, only for spring one, as we discussed in the prior screen there, the prior PowerPoint screen. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about our field placement settings. You probably are wondering, well, where do interns do their internship? There's a whole variety of places that you can do a human services internship, as long as it is a bona fide human services organization, an organization whose mission and whose mandate is to provide some kind of helping under the umbrella of human services. It could be a food pantry, a food soup kitchen of sorts. So you see food, we do a lot of that. So that's pretty prominent. We also work with the elderly a lot. We work in senior centers and senior housing. We do a lot around youth. We have some daycare centers, not too many of those, but we do have some youth centers. We have a lot of settlement houses. We have some very interesting organizations that deal with more macro issues. By that, I mean voters' rights and immigrant rights. I think that gives you a good range. We also do a couple of organizations that deal with probation and issues having to do with ex-offender rights and helping individuals that have been formerly incarcerated. So it really just runs the gamut. A lot of schools, if you're interested in school-based work with teens or young adults. So I don't think you will have any concerns, or there won't be a shortage of where you can do your internship, because we can be very creative in terms of giving you opportunities that are out there. We have quite a few partnerships that we've already developed with many, many organizations. You do not need to worry yourself about finding your own internship. We do that for you. In fact, we prefer doing it for you because we have well-established relationships. And when we bring on a partner, there is a process. We have to have an affiliation agreement and an understanding with them. And there's some back and forth that has to happen before we can even place one of our interns in an organization. So we already have the places for you. On occasion, there are people who say they want to work in a specific place. It depends. We typically don't place people in settings where they've already had a prior relationship or where they were a client or they've already had some kind of prior dealings. But the only exception to that would be a work-based organization, because again, if you are working full-time and you really would find it hard to do an extra internship on top of your job, it may be possible for us to place you within the place that you work at, as I spoke about earlier. I want to switch gears for a moment and talk a little bit about something called Core Elms. And here it is. Core Elms is our management. Core Elms is our internship database management system. It's the system of how we electronically manage our internships. It's very exciting. We just recently acquired this, so we're actually learning it, but it's exciting, and we think it's going to make it much easier for both ourselves as administrators and both you as the intern to keep track of your timesheets and submit important documents. So again, through the platform, you'll be able to do electronic internship management. It'll make it easier for you to upload paperwork. This will be the primary way timesheets are managed. You will sign into this through your CUNY First login, and you'll receive emails. There'll be other things that you'll be able to do on this over time. So it's pretty exciting. You'll be hearing, when you become an intern, an official intern, you'll get trainings and videos, and we will show you how to use this platform. Earlier, I spoke to you about the matching process. I want to say a little bit about that. So once you are definitely eligible and you've completed, you've met with your advisor and it's very clear that you are going to be enrolled in HSBC 201 for the spring of 2024, then I will email you and I will give you information on how to, again, access the Blackboard orientation. So once you do that and you've completed the Blackboard orientation, and that takes about an hour and a half, it's about a 90-minute process, then you would email me and then tell me that you're done. And then I would schedule some time to meet with you for what we call the matching interview. And the matching interview is essentially where I get to know you a little bit better, including your interests, your preferences, your career goals. I get to learn a little bit about some cut and dry factual information, where you live, where you work, and what you'd like to do as far as an internship so that we can match you in the proper internship. We usually, both you and I will discuss, and the both of us will come to some understanding, and I will usually give you a couple of choices, at least, more than one, possibly three, up to three or so choices, so that you can get a sense of, what you'd like to do. And this is based on the discussion that we have. So once we've identified an agency together, your job will be to contact the supervisor or lead contact and send that person your resume and your cover letter. Okay. And that process, again, will start to happen in the beginning of January, right after the new year. As I mentioned, January the 9th, if not sooner, I'll be starting to meet with people who are eligible to begin matching them to their internships. And that process will go on for the rest of January, all throughout February, until we get to the beginning of March, because that's when the internships begin. So again, you would need to have done all of that with me, and so that you can be ready to actually start the internship in the beginning of March. Now, these are important early steps. Given what I just said, it is absolutely important for you to have a working resume, and you don't want to be worrying about creating a resume sometime in January or February. If possible, you want to take care of that now so that by the time we meet, you already have a resume that you're happy with and that is representing you well. And you also want to have a working cover letter, and hopefully you know what a thank you letter is or a thank you email, right? After an interview, you would definitely be sending some kind of thank you to the person who interviewed you, which absolutely is a very positive and favorable thing to do when you're looking for any kind of job search or when you're looking to obtain an internship. You also want to make sure you have some professional interview attire, and we'll talk about that. So if all of this, if you're thinking, wow, I need help with this, then what you want to do is you want to make an appointment with the CCPP as fast as possible. That's the Center for Career Preparation and Partnerships. They are located at Gutman on the 4th floor, room 407. And that's exactly what they do. They help our students with resumes, cover letter, job search, and anything and everything having to do with the world of career development. So you absolutely want to meet with them, and you want to do that as soon as possible so that by the time you meet with me in January, you already have a working resume and a cover letter. Interview attire. So this is what I call regardless of how you gender yourself, people gender themselves in different ways. Some people are more comfortable with attire that looks like this, which tends to be more female-oriented attire. So on the lower right side, you see a suit, you see pumps. This is a very classic interview style, right? Very classic interview clothing. There's a jacket. There is a very lovely bag, lovely pumps. On the left side of the screen, it's a little bit more casual. This person is wearing some really nice slacks, what looks like some appropriate shoes. There's also a nice shirt and jacket. It's not as formal as what's on the lower right. And there's a handbag and it's a nice look, right? So this is what you want to pull together for your interview. Things that resemble this as much as possible. Now, some people, the first thing you may be saying is this looks very expensive, and I agree with you. The clothing in this photo does look pretty pricey. We do not want you to go spending big money. This is not about spending money. First of all, shop in your closet. You may already have things that are perfectly appropriate and don't require you spending any money. You might even be able to borrow some things from friends, siblings, parents. They may have some things that you can borrow and just use for the occasion to go out on an interview. If you don't, the CCPP can also help you with that. They have access to an organization that helps people acquire interview clothing. So that's another reason why you want to make an appointment with them early. If you are an individual who prefers more male-oriented attire, these are looks that might work for you. On the left, we see definitely a more formal look. Right, this person literally has a jacket, tie, and a suit and looks very classy, classic. On the right, this person still looks very appropriate for an interview, but it's not as formal. Both looks are okay. Certainly the look on the left, on the right, is the more common look for our field. If you're doing business or corporate, the look on the right is definitely the look on the left, the suit and tie guy. That's going to be the look you want to emulate or copy. The look on the right, more casual, we call it business casual, is what you want to kind of pull together for most human services interviews. You may be wondering why I'm talking about this. It's because if you haven't figured it out, after we meet for our matching interview, you're still going to have to go for another interview, which is the interview with the actual agency that you would be doing your internship at. So that's why we want you to pull together not only your resume and your cover letter, but also your interview wardrobing. And here again is information about the CCPP where you can access You can either physically go to their office, there's somebody there every day. Sometimes they are at lunch and they'll let you know, there'll be a sign on the door. I would try to avoid the middle of the day, but typically there's somebody always there. You can also make an appointment on Starfish. In fact, that's how they prefer people to access them. Making an appointment on Starfish, just let them know you either need assistance with the resume, the cover letter. They also do mock interviewing. They can help with a lot of things. Okay, what to expect from your field placement experience. Okay, so let's say we've already matched you, you went on the interview, you did great, and now they made you the offer. The next question is, once you get the internship, you may have questions about, well, what is that going to be like for you? So once again, you're going to be working 2 days a week, maybe three, in a human services organization. Most of our organizations operate from 9 to 5. Some of them might have a little bit later hours. I realize that there may be some people here that want an evening or a weekend internship. We're working on developing more of those, but right now, most of the opportunities that we have do take place during regular, normal business hours. So, again, if you are working full time and you really, really need something on the weekends, we will try our best to accommodate you. We're trying to build more of those opportunities, but most of them are going to be from 9 to 5. So I say that to you so that you can begin to prepare what this may be, what this may mean for you. Will it mean that you will have to make some kind of arrangement with your employer? Maybe do some of your internship hours during vacation days. I'm not sure, but those are things for you to begin to think about, okay, if you work full time. If you work part time, it's obviously easier because you'll have more time, presumably, not much, but at least a little bit more time to finagle something. Well, what can you expect from your internship experience? You can expect to learn about your clients and the agency and yourself. You can begin to increase your practice skills no matter where you are, even if you already are working in the field. You're going to increase your skill sets. You're going to expect to be challenged, expect to practice what you are learning in class, and expect to learn about and utilize community resources. So what are you going to be doing? You could be doing a variety of things. And usually by the time you meet with me for the matching interview, I will have a job description for you so that you'll know exactly what you're going to be doing. Sometimes we have to nudge our agencies to give us updated job descriptions, but for the most part, you will have a sense of what you're going to be doing specifically for that place that you're matched at. But in general, our students do a variety of things, including the following: ongoing client contact, direct services. They might observe intakes and eventually conduct an intake or many intakes. They might make referrals to community agencies. They might attend case conferences and meetings. They go on field visits, court visits, understaffed supervision. They practice active listening, empathic responding. They use a computer to update a resource manual. It can be so many things. You might help with a group. You might plan events. You might be involved in tutoring or assisting in a classroom. You might be involved in doing biopsychosocial assessments or observing those. You might be fielding phone calls, making phone calls, reminding clients of certain things, calling them to collect certain things, certain pieces of information, and then inputting that into a computer. There might be some admin work as well. Our focus, of course, is to keep things on direct service. That's our priority, but many of our internships might involve some administration. You might, in fact, be creating flyers, creating some social media postings, or doing other things along those lines. Okay, there's a variety of possibilities. And again, Once you are matched, we'll try to get you the exact job description, which would be helpful for you because you're going to need to know that when you actually go out on your interview so that you can talk to the things that you know that you're going to be doing at the agency. We expect that you're professional, that you behave professionally, that you're flexible. Flexibility is so important. That you take initiative, right? This is an opportunity for you to really lean in. And sometimes our interns get job offers at their internships, which they take. Sometimes it's a real strategic career opportunity. A lot of places hire interns, especially when they have proven to be excellent. They have no reason to go outside to hire somebody if they have a perfectly capable person right there. We want you to be reliable. You will have to submit timesheets. It says here biweekly timesheets, but by the time we get Core Elms up and running, it's actually going to be daily. The timesheet system in Core Elms is not biweekly, it's daily. The system we have now is biweekly, and that's why this is written the way it is. But in Core Elms, and we'll show you and train you essentially every day that you work your internship. At the end of the day, you log into Core Elms and you just fill out the hours that you did for that day so that it consistently keeps track of your hours. And of course, you want to maintain excellent attendance, right? You want to show up on your internship. Many of you have responsibilities, families, other things to do. But if you're not showing up on your internship, it can absolutely be problematic. That's probably the biggest thing that causes people to incur issues or concerns on the internship, poor attendance or showing up late. So it is a job, and you're going to be, expected to treat it just like a job. Now we have expectations of your agency, right? They are our partners. They're going to orient you to their mission, their function, and their services. They're going to provide face-to-face supervision at least 1 hour a week. You should be meeting with a supervisor, and you should know who that supervisor is. You're going to have all kinds of opportunities. They're going to complete the mid and final evaluation. All of this, again, will be on Core Elms. They're going to approve your timesheets, hopefully not deny them, right? So the assumption is that you'll do them correctly, and then they'll be approving your timesheets. They'll be approving other kinds of paperwork for you on Core Elms. But your supervisor is the main person who is going to, at least in the field or in the practicum on your agency, they're the ones that are going to be providing you with the actual hands-on opportunity and giving you feedback on how you're doing. Now, in addition to your supervisor in the field, you will be assigned to a person known as a field associate. Our field associates are MSW or BSW interns themselves, okay, from other schools. We have interns from NYU, York College, interns from Lehman College, and the Gutman itself has now started working with Fordham and with Hunter. And we probably will be bringing on other schools. Our field associates check in with you and your supervisor periodically. They usually do that once every other week, if not more often. They're checking in to see how you're doing. They want to just make sure your internship is going fine. They will conduct site visits, either on site or virtually. These days now, as the things get a little bit better with COVID-19, we're going out more. So we're actually going to the agencies. By the way, your internships are expected to be remote. I'm sorry, on site. Take that back. They are expected to be on site. Obviously, during COVID-19, our internships were remote, but now everything has sort of gone back to a new normal. So most of our agencies are expecting on-site interns. We'll talk about that for you. A few of them might have hybrid opportunities, but for the most part, internships are on-site. We do not have remote-only internships, period. Provide additional support. That's what the field associates do. They will provide you with additional support. They'll meet with you. They'll offer you supportive counseling. They kind of function like a peer mentor to help ensure your success. And they also work very closely with your agencies to also support them. These are just some general tips. You'll be hearing a lot about this in your HSBC 201 course. But in order to be successful on an internship, it's just the same things that are required in life. Be open to learning, be receptive to learn from your supervisor. You want to definitely manage your time. Time management is going to be the biggest thing because you're going to have a lot on your plate. And so, stress management, time management, managing family expectations. How do you manage all this so that you can get through those 10 to 10 and a half hours a week? You want to practice good self-care. Um, that's always the heart of everything, right? Taking care of yourself so that you can, getting your sleep, eating properly, setting limits. You want to maintain good attendance, as we mentioned. Again, being reliable, taking initiative. You may need to start to make plans if you have young children. You're going to need to think about how is there daycare involved that you're going to need to work out? Is there other kinds of things that you're going to need to work out? Because now suddenly you're going to need to find 10 hours out of your schedule to commit to an internship. Don't wait until we start in order for you to begin figuring these things out. If you have these other responsibilities, even elder care, taking care of older family members, will you have to delegate or have someone else help you out so that you can make it through your internship? So begin to think about those things. All right. You'll be getting lots of information about our specific team. But this slide just has names and numbers on it. Don't worry, you will be getting all this information in the future when you meet with me. And some of it may change a little bit, but for the most part, this is our team that you'll be working with specifically for your human services internship. Dr. Marcia Edwards is the department chair. And of course, underneath her is Dr. Nicole Kress, who is your teacher now, right? And so on and so forth. You'll get to know us as you get into this major. All right, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Kress should have sent you a Google link, and it's called the 2024 Pre-Fieldwork Orientation link. Please fill that out as fast as possible. What that will do is that will start to give me information about each and every one of you. Your name, your phone number, your EMBL ID, and other kinds of data so that I can start to get an idea of who you are and how many people will need an internship for the spring of 2024. The most important things you need to be doing right now is go talk to your advisor at Gutman to figure out at what point do you think you'll be ready to take this internship? If some of you might not be ready until the fall of 2024, in which case you don't have to worry too much, but still know that this is coming in your future. And those of you that are going to be taking it sooner, it's going to be arriving all the more sooner. So you really need to get ready for this process. Talk to your advisor. And as I mentioned, everybody here, please, no matter where you are, even if you're not going to be doing this right away, you must go get a working resume and cover letter done, and participate in the things that the CCPP has to offer. Okay, because as I mentioned, once you meet with me and we have placed you somewhere, your next step is that you're going to be matched. You're going to have to call up or not call up, but send the agency where you're matched your resume and your cover letter. And essentially that's to set up an interview. So there are 2 interviews involved with this, one with me and then one with the agency, as I mentioned. So you're going to want to have those documents, your resume, your cover letter, and a working thank you letter. All right, I think that's it. It was great to, I didn't meet anybody personally, but I know you're meeting me, and I'm sure I'll see you around at Gutman. I'm in room 608. If you ever just want to pop in and say hello, I'm usually at Gutman twice a week, sometimes 3 days, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, occasionally on a Wednesday. You can take a chance. It's 608, or you can email me and just ask for an appointment. All right, well, I'm going to stop the share. And once again, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope this was informative, and I look forward to meeting with you soon. Be well.